Feelings can be terrible leaders. Wow. And so that actually goes to your statement the power to respond proactively is necessary. What did you mean by that? Is that what you meant to say? Okay, if you're leading by your feelings, you're not
Mm.
responding proactively? What did you mean there?
Absolutely. To me, to understand what responding proactively means, you have to understand what responding reactively means, right? And back to those feelings. Sometimes think of this. Maybe you've had a long day, a stressful day at work or something like that, and you come home and just all of the stress and the energy of the day are there. And so someone forgot to take out the trash. And so suddenly your emotions just boil up to the surface and you start yelling at somebody, right? Maybe you lose your temper, snap, if you will. And then later you have to apologize to that person because you're like, you know what? I didn't really mean it. I was just taking out the stress of the day, the emotion of the day. I had a tough time at work kind of thing. But I took it out based on those feelings. I responded based on the feelings and reacted based on responding proactively based on principles and values. I didn't really
Mm.
want to rupture a relationship because somebody forgot to take out the trash. And yet we all have gotten it wrong from time to time, and yet we
Yeah.
have all gotten it right from time to time as well. And so learning to just not ignore those feelings, but learning that we don't have to respond based on them starts meaning that we can make choices intentionally rather than from our head, and making choices intentionally from our head rather than from our heart or the emotions or the habits that sometimes don't serve us well.
You know, just the idea of figuring out what serves us and what doesn't serve us well, that is a bit of a challenge, I think, sometimes. But you also sit on the philosophy of that we can have more influence. Does that come from our ability to control our emotions, or how are you coaching that, in other words?
Absolutely. The choices that we make as individuals in all four dimensions of life, physical, emotional, social, and even spiritual, are determining the level of influence we have with other people. For example, say you make a commitment to have a meeting with somebody at 10 o'clock and you don't show up until 10:15, right? I mean, understandably, sometimes things happen, but if this is a consistent pattern in your life where you're not keeping your commitments or you're late for them, that's decreasing your influence because influence is based on relationships. Relationships are based on trust. And if I can't trust you to keep your word or your commitment, then you've got a little bit less influence with me because next time you make a commitment to me, I'm going to be thinking, do they really mean it? Or maybe it's not as important. And that's just one example of how something that we do can affect our influence. Every single interaction that we have with somebody is either increasing our influence and our leadership or decreasing it. And it's the little things
Yeah.
with people that are big